Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Colorado Rockies rebuild franchise here on MLB The Show 24. Welcome to this year's Futures Game as we're here from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as the Phillies are hosting the 2026 All-Star Game festivities. And of course, it's only traditional to start that with the Futures Game. Now, we do have some good history going back to year 1 and year 2, as Adiel Amador, still in our organization, was the Futures Game MVP each of the first 2 in this series. Although he will not be participating this year, still coming back from a broken leg injury, we do have 2 players in the starting lineup, starting with David Castilla, who's going to lead us off here momentarily. Marcelo Lerma on the bump here to start for the American League. And Castilla was the 41st overall pick in last year's draft. And he has a potential, currently tearing it up right now in Double-A. Very high hopes for him, as you see there. 6'4", 240 pounds. Currently batting .293 in Double-A with our Hartford Yard Goats, here to lead it off from the 2026 MLB Futures Game. First pitch there for a ball. Castillo, the 4th ranked prospect in all of baseball. Very high hopes for him. Not going to offer much with his glove, but a potential batting champion. Good eye there. Now a quick 2-0 count to the leadoff man here for the National League. And now for the All-Star Game that'll take place next episode after this game here, when we have Castilla and Alex Parra in the lineup. And then we'll go ahead with the MLB Draft festivities, as Castilla going to line that one out to left field as a flyout to start the game. And now here's Alex Parra batting in the cleanup spot, the 7th overall pick last year. So we had Parra, and then we drafted Castilla, both of whom have been in the top 4 for the NL Futures this year. First pitch to Parra, going to rope that foul. Parra, a third baseman, very strong arm, and hits lefties incredibly well. A decent start for him, starting off in Triple-A. He and Castilla probably a year or 2 away before they crack the 26-man roster. Parra now in a quick 0-2 hole here, 2 away here in the top of the first. Swing and a miss as Parra goes down on strikes. Castilla a fly out to start, and Parra going back to the dugout after swinging a miss there. Nothing doing after a half inning of play in this year's Futures Game. Now here in the top of the 3rd inning, David Castilla back up, of course 0 for 1 with that fly out to start. 1 away here. Runner on first. Chase Hampton on the bump, I believe part of the Yankees organization. First pitch there in on the hands, fouled off. Now the 0-1, although they are going to check the runner there at first. Now the 0-1. Castilla out in front there on the slider. Certainly a pitch we could have got a hold on, just a little over the top on it. Now 0-2. That one in the dirt. Good eye from Castilla. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. A curveball hung right over the plate there. And again, a little out in front over the top on it as Hampton gets the strikeout. Now to lead off the top of the 4th is Alex Parra. And of course, we saw him strike out to end the first. So 0 for 3 combined so far. And we got to get someone in the hit column. Parra is going to send that deep. Left fielder giving chase up, and that is gone. The left fielder trying to climb the wall to rob it, but Alex Parra goes deep here in the Futures Game. Just as I say, someone needs to get in the hit column. Parra says, I'll do you one better, and I'll get in the home run column instead, as he takes a trip around the bases. Now the National League on the board here, 1-0. And I mentioned how Adiel Amador tore it up in last year's Futures Game, the Futures Game before that. Futures Game MVP in each of the first 2. And wouldn't it be something if a Colorado Rocky prospect can win Futures Game MVP for the 3rd straight year? Now Castilla back up 0 for 2. Struck out his last time up, and I think we will just give him one more at-bat after this one. Gonna look at that first pitch slider down there for a strike. Cade Horton now pitching for the American League. Castilla going to give that a ride out to shallow center. Diving attempt, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Not how you draw it up, but effective nonetheless. A 2-out single for Castilla. Just the 2nd hit of the day for the National League Futures team. Now Alex Parra trots back up to the plate, as we'll take another look at his 4th inning home run. The first hit for the National League gives them the first run of the day. Still a 2-0 ball, or a 1-0 ball game here Just 2 hits on the board for the National League. One from Castilla, one from Parra. Another lefty on the bump here for the American League, to the delight of Alex Parra, a 1-0 count. That one off the plate as well, 2 sliders away. Quick advantage count here for Parra. Another pitch there on the outer part of the plate, just missing all of them, really just, shade off. 3-0, and we give Parra the green light. And he goes yard again. He'll take another trip around the bases. 2 solo shots here for Alex Parra. And he is representing our organization very well here on the big stage. It's great to see, it's the MLB Draft episode, as we're going to embark on that after this game here. But it's great to see our prospects from even just last year's draft having a big impact here on the big stage. We have high hopes for Alex Parra. A big power threat there, especially against lefties. And we were shocked when he fell into our laps at 7 overall, I believe it was. He was the 2nd rated prospect on the board, and he was projected to go, top 2, but fell into our laps at 7, and we were not expecting that. We were fully expecting to go to David Castilla, who was like 4th on our board or something like that, but like 50 on the MLB board, and he ended up slipping all the way to our 2nd pick there at 41, so it turned out to be an ideal dream draft scenario for us last year, and already paying off, it seems. And I think we'll give Castilla one more at-bat here, a bloop single last time up, now 1 for 3, as the National League still up 2-0. Raleigh Donovan on the bump, a top 10 prospect right now, the top closer in all of baseball, currently with the Tampa Bay Rays organization. He was selected in last year's draft, the top closer in the class. Now working his way into the Futures Game here. Castilla, good eye on those first 2 pitches, a 2-0 count. And between Castilla and Parra, we have 2 potential very good hitters that are going to work their way up very soon into our lineup. Another pitch there off the plate. Now a quick 3-0. And do we give Castilla the green light on 3-0 like we did with Parra? Castilla not nearly as much power. And that time a 4-pitch walk, as Castilla going to reach base safely again. And another look here at Alex Parra's home run. Which one are they going to show? As Parra has went 2 solo shots here today. That was the first one. And this one I'm going to assume is the second one. Parra just dominating right now. Let's see if he can make it a 3rd. As National League has added 3 more runs here in the top of the 7th. Now 2 away, a man in scoring position. Parra going to go first pitch. And that's going deep. Not sure if it's getting out of here to the track. And Parra flirts with a 3rd, but not going to quite get it done. 5-0 here for the NL Futures after 7. It's time to stretch here from Citizens Bank Park. Leading off the 8th now will be Muhammad Huffman, who we also selected in last year's draft. Looks at a first pitch there for a strike, actually in single A. So we'll take a look at his player card real quick. 18 years old, so very raw at only 53 overall, but already has the makings of a good fielder with a good arm. There as a corner infielder at 1st and 3rd. You like the switch hitting capabilities. Power probably going to develop there into the 60s or so, but hoping the bat can come around a little bit more. I was surprised to see him as a reserve here on this Futures team, but we'll get a look at him for the first time in this series. And this will get a net bat late here now. 5-1 NL Futures. A 1-1 count here to Huffman. Swing and a miss there. Now a 1-2 hole. Fastball misses off the plate. Now 2-2 count. And we're going to swing and miss at that curveball. Split-second decision to kind of go for it there. We should not have done that. As Huffman goes back to the bench. Top of the 9th. 2 away. We'll give Parra one more shot here. 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. And again, we meet a lefty on the bump. Go first pitch swinging at the inside slider, 0-1. Parra definitely looks like he'll get Futures Game MVP. You'd be hard-pressed to find another option, I think, after a 2 home run performance on this stage. Maybe even 3. We'll see how this one goes. 2-1 now. Fastball well off the plate. Good eye, fastball way inside that time. Now 3-1 and Huffman actually on deck. We might get another at-bat with him. Parra going to give that a ride out to right center. As that goes into the mitt of the right fielder. So 6-2, 3 more outs here for the American League. It looks like our guys in line for a win here today. And that will do it here from Citizens Bank Park as the National League takes this 6-2. Alex Parra 2 for 5 with 2 solo home runs. David Castilla 1 for 4 with a walk, I believe. And the National League looks very good here today. Huffman 0 for 1 in that lone at bat. We saw Noble Meyer gets the win here. And Parra got the hitting started, got the scoring started with that second inning home run. Or maybe it was the third inning, but either way, a very good showing here from our guys at Citizens Bank Park. We'll see who MVP was. And player of the game, Alex Parra, as we expected. So make it 3 years in a row where we've had a man from our organization win Futures Game MVP. And now with that, we're all set for the 2026 MLB Draft as our Colorado Rockies hold the 14th overall pick. In addition, we have 36, 48, so we have 3 in the top 50, and then we have 88, 118, 148, and 178. So we didn't really do too well scouting this year. We have a few targets here at the top for our first few picks, but after that, kind of a crapshoot. We have a bunch of relievers here towards the bottom, a bunch of center fielders, some starting pitchers. So we'll just kind of review our top targets here for pick 14. And it all starts here with Franklin Delaney, a left-handed bat, left-handed glove with potentially elite power versus righties. Good contact power overall. Vision discipline going to be a little bit under, but you like how it counteracts there in the field. A potential gold glover there at every spot there in the outfield with very good speed, a very good arm. So, minus the contact, a 4 out of those 5 tools you look for. So if Delaney is there at 14, I think he is the pick. 5th on our board after scouting, 20th on the MLB board. Backup plans include Ton Chaney here, 14th on our board, 22nd on the MLB board. Another left-handed outfielder here, a center fielder with better power, although the contact vision discipline a little down, but another potential gold glove winner out there in the outfield with tremendous speed, a good arm as well, and going to be like a tremendous top of the order type guy here. I like the Chaney skill set here with that power, fielding, and speed. So if we miss out on Delaney, I think we have a solid backup plan there in Ton Chaney. Although we do have more center field options as we go along in the draft, so maybe Chaney's someone we don't really want to go for that early. Danny Medwick, another option here. Very good contact against lefties. Vision discipline up there as well. Power not going to be anything special, but definitely above average in that average range. But you like what he brings at the hot corner with a strong arm and a better fielder there than Alex Parra, who we just saw in that Futures game. And I think Parra, although we did draft him as a third baseman, I think he might be better suited in left field, so maybe we'd like to transition him to the outfield, which would open a spot there for Medwick in the lineup as well. If we go pitching, Romeo Lindsay probably will be the guy. 30th on the MLB board, but after scouting, he moves up to 10 on our board. He has a 5-pitch mix, and it looks like he's very good, with control, not going to allow any walks, going to keep the ball in the ballpark, but going to kind of rack up some hits from time to time. So I don't really want to go pitching. I'm kind of content with the depth we have in terms of starting pitchers in our organization right now. So I think we definitely want to add a bat and a left-handed bat at that. So Delaney, our top guy, really hoping he's there at 14. And then looking ahead to pick 36 and 48. So really, I think of these 4 guys here at the top, I don't think any of them are going to make it to 36. That would be kind of a dream draft scenario, kind of like what we had last year. We ended up with Parra and Castilla. I don't think we're going to get that lucky this year. So instead, I think Wan Young-Hoo, a very good center fielder, goes up from 71 on the MLB board to 11 on ours. Look at that contact. Potentially, elite contact there in the upper 90s. Very good speed with it. So a top of the order type guy with vision and discipline that are going to progress very nicely. The power going to be a weakness, but if you could just put the ball in play with that contact, that speed, I think he could be a very good base hitter and eventually, kind of progress into a decent fielder. But if you have good speed, good range, you could really make it work in the outfield, even if you don't have the best fielding capability. So another reason why Ton Chaney maybe not ideal here is because we have better center field, not better, but we have other center field options kind of down the board. So I think Wan Young-Hoo here is our top potential target at pick 36, even though he's not slated till 71. But if you want to get your guys in these MLB drafts, you really have to reach for them. But, 11th on our board after scouting, really not a reach if you think about it. Lewis Spencer, another guy we're probably going to overdraft. 4th on our board, so after scouting. So in terms of, all these guys at the top here, he's actually the highest rated on our board that we have on our watch list. I think the other guys, the top 3 prospects, we didn't even bother scouting because we don't really have a true shot. But Spencer looks to have a overall balanced skill set, going to come in pretty raw at just 18 years old. But that ceiling with that 81 to 96 potential, could end up there in the 90s. A 5-pitch mix with a sweeping curve, a slider, changeup, 4-seam and 2-seam. So I think if we get hopefully Delaney at 14, Wanyang-Hu at 36, and I think Spencer could be the pick there at 48, although we might be able to hold off and get him at 88, which brings up Mike Costello, and we've had him 85% scouted. He dropped from 39 to 77 after scouting, but even with that, I really like the skill set he brings offensively. Really, all those categories are going to be above average or well above average, especially there against lefties. So someone maybe can come off the bench as an exceptional pinch hitter. His glove not really going to offer much, which maybe is why he slid a lot after scouting, but seems to be a high floor type player and projected at 39. So an option if he's there at 36, although I don't know if I'd want to pass on Wanyang-Hu in favor of Costello, but certainly something to think about. So after our top 3, we really don't have much plan. We have a bunch of guys scattered here. Neil Pepper, 56 on the board, probably wouldn't make it past our 3rd pick. So kind of just up here as a filler if maybe we don't get a starter before that. A couple relievers here. Milt McCauley, I think our top option, 7th after scouting, although he and Carlos Ferreira both only 50% scouted. But hopefully we can end up with one of these guys. Ferreira slated at 59, McCauley at 74, but hopefully one of them makes it to like 88, and we can kind of cash in on a reliever after getting 3 of our top options there at the top of our board. Then really nothing of note as we go along. Rob Torres, kind of a diamond in the rough that I was able to find after scouting, went up over 100 spots to 49 from 171. So he's someone I wouldn't even mind reaching for at 88 or 118, depending on the options. You really like that hitting against lefties, going to be all right against righties as well, with very good vision and discipline. Not going to offer much in the field, but a prototype first base designated hitter type guy, someone we can maybe snag in the 3rd or 4th round. A couple center fielders here. Malcolm Nunez, really like that contact, vision, speed, fielding combination, although only halfway scouted. A handful of center fielders here. We went really heavy scouting center fielders. Kind of regret that in hindsight. Going to have a better plan next year. Mark Gibson, he jumped up a few spots from 148 to 135. Maybe someone we target at 118, 148 there in the 4th or 5th round. Good contact, good speed, fielding type guy. So just, a broad look at our draft board, as we really hope Franklin Delaney is the guy. If not, Tawn Chaney or maybe Danny Medwick will be solid options as well. Then we would hope for Wanyang-Hu and Lewis Spencer with our other top 50 picks. So we're going to enter the draft here, our year 3 MLB draft, the 2026 MLB draft. We've drafted very well here to start this franchise, and I hope to keep that going here as the New York Mets are on the clock as they won the MLB draft lottery, and they're going to select Angel Beltran, not Carlos Beltran, but Angel Beltran, 1st overall, even though he was slated 33rd on the MLB board. But a nice surprise for Beltran there, going number 1 to the New York Mets. Now number 2, Santiago Cedeno. This one makes more sense, as after scouting, he was number 2 on our board, but top 3 overall, as the White Sox get a potential ace. Now number 3 overall is going to be Darryl Jordan to the Blue Jays, and he was actually the number 1 rated player, slips to number 3, as the Blue Jays get who is supposedly the top player in this class. And now we'll kind of just watch the 1st round play out. The Nationals on the clock. They go Hugo Hurt, a first baseman, ranked 76th on the MLB board. Reaching for him here at number 4. You like that name, though. Kind of reminiscent of the Big Hurt. Kansas City at number 5 goes with Alfonso Ojeda, a left-handed starting pitcher, ranked 21st on the board. Now the Oakland Athletics up, and they pick Thomas Torres, another pitcher. So all of our options on the board still, as now Milwaukee up for the 7th pick. And there you go, Alan Donnellan, a shortstop, kind of projected in the 2nd round. So a bunch of reaches here to start. really no method to the madness this year. Boston, number 8, goes Tom Hugh. We scouted him. We scouted a lot of starting pitchers in the international region. So we kind of scouted Hugh and Santiago Cedeno here, who we kind of figured were out of our reach anyway. So good picks there by the White Sox and the Red Sox to get 2 of the top pitchers that kind of line up with their selection. San Francisco goes with a shortstop here, Julio Novoa. We'll see him. Looks to have very good contact, a very good glove, good speed. The Angels take Michael Sanders as starting pitcher. And then Pittsburgh goes Kerry Luca, starting pitcher here at 11. So just a few picks away now from our pick. San Diego goes William Kendall. Kind of lines up with their draft slot. Now Arizona, so 3 straight NL West teams. We'll see who the D-backs go with. And they take Mike Taylor as a bunch of starting pitchers here to start this draft. And, we have our pick of the litter here. And as I've stressed, I think Franklin Delaney going to be the pick here. Looks like he does have a higher ceiling than Cheney and Medwick. Looks like a higher floor as well. So we're going to go with the 18-year-old right fielder. You look at that fielding, 78 to 83. Already going to be a good fielder. Going to have a strong arm. Going to be fast. Going to steal bases. Going to hit for some power. And hopefully that contact can come around as well. So Franklin Delaney, 14th overall here as we do get our guy. Welcome to the Rockies organization. And we'll see you up in the bigs here soon. And now we'll just let the first round play out here. We'll see where some of our other top guys go off the board. Detroit here at the halfway point of the first round. As they go Jeff McGraw, another starting pitcher. So I think that makes 10 starting pitchers. 9 starting pitchers out of the first 15 picks. And another starter off the board there, Stuart Velasquez to the Cubs. And it's funny there, we saw the Padres, Diamondbacks, Rockies all pick in a row there. All 3 of us here in the NL West finished 1 game out of a playoff spot last year. William Bayek there to Cleveland. He looked to be a solid pitcher. Scouted him 65%. John Edwards to Seattle. Also scouted him a little bit. But he's actually injured right now, so we don't really know how the medicals are going to turn out. Miami goes with Nixon Quinones, a first baseman. Looks to have a very good bat. Now the Yankees up at pick 20. As they go Derek Anderson, someone we lightly scouted, just 30% switch hitter there in left field. Looks to have a good bat, good power against righties, but kind of dropped a little bit after initial scouting. Phillies go with Kevin Hamill, the top-rated catcher. And we were hoping to grab a stud catcher in this draft, but top 2 guys kind of slipped after scouting. Hamill all the way down to 73 after opening at 23 on the board. Although the Phillies still do take him in the first round here. Astros go with Ken Navarro, a starting pitcher. Dodgers go with a second baseman here. Tim Norman, slated at 162 on the MLB board. And the Dodgers take him here at 23 overall. So the MLB draft system here in the show really has to be revamped. They have to fix this. They haven't done anything really. I mean, the presentation and everything is a little bit cooler than what we had to work with in previous years, but they need to revamp this whole scouting process, just really every facet, and make it more of an enjoyable process. So there goes Ton Cheney to Atlanta, and he would have been our guy at 14 maybe if Franklin Delaney wasn't there. Goes 12 spots later to the Braves, and we think they got a very good center fielder. Going back a couple picks, D'Angelo Tucker to the Twins. We scouted him a little bit, dropped after scouting, but still looks to be a very good player. Danny Medwick, one of our other options, goes to the Baltimore Orioles. Ralph Sandoval, another top catcher here, goes to the Phillies. And Romeo Lindsay, our top pitching prospect, our option, goes off the board here at 28 to the Rangers. A second baseman to the Rays. Now the World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals to close out the first round. And they go with Aaron Skinner, a first baseman. And yes, you heard that correctly. The Cardinals did win the World Series in year 2 of this franchise. The Cubs won it back in year 1. Now, the prospect promotion incentive round, Erwin Thompson there to the Pirates. And now we do have another pick here in 4 selections. The Brewers go with Tony O'Keefe. Looks to be the top closer in this year's draft. Now the Diamondbacks up. And they go with Bill Hickman, another reliever. And you see a lot of relievers start going off the board at this spot. It seems like teams, they're not willing to select them in the first, but once it goes past the first round, they're all over the relief pitchers. Here you see Cleveland go with one, and I would be kind of surprised if the Pirates didn't go with one here in this spot. And we'll see what they do, and they do go with a closer there. So back up on the clock at 36, and it kind of went as I expected. Our closest guy we got was Lindsey, making it here to 36, but he was off the board at 28. So now kind of have to go with our backup options here. And Wan Yong-hoo, 11th on our board after scouting. And you look at that profile, kind of gives off, like Ichiro vibes with that contact and that speed with the lefty bat, out of Asia. Otherwise, Lewis Spencer, 4th on our board after scouting, but we could probably get him at 48. And Mike Costello at 39 on the board. These are really the two guys that are threatening to come off the board here. Mike Costello, 85% scouted, but like I said, went all the way down to 77 after scouting. So I think I would just prefer, to go with Wan Yong-hoo here with that upside and probably hold out for Lewis Spencer here at 48. So I think we will just, stick to our scout suggestion here and go with Wan Yong-hoo. Really like that profile he brings to the table. And we go back-to-back outfielders to start this year's draft. First, Franklin Delaney, a right fielder, and now Wan Yong-hoo out of South Korea, 11th on our board according to our scout. So really hoping for Lewis Spencer at 48, but I mean, if Mike Costello falls down to 48, we might even take a flyer on him, hoping that Spencer could last until 88. So who went off the board there last? Another closer here, Jonah Cruz to Kansas City. As now we'll start the second round. And we're not going to watch every pick in this draft. We'll just kind of let this second round play out, and then we'll start simulating to our picks. Got to keep some suspense here. The Mets go with a closer. So all relief pitchers here after pick 31. It's been all relievers besides our pick. And now the White Sox, they go relief pitchers. So much, more evidence at how broken this draft system is in MLB The Show. Now the Brewers up at pick 41. They go closing pitcher. What do you know? And we'll have about 7 more picks to watch here before we just start cruising through this draft. Red Sox, they go with a relief pitcher. So we actually might be able to get Costello. But still, do we, take the chance to if the Spencer make it all the way to 88? Assuming Costello or even Neil Pepper here, 56 on the MLB board, scouted him over halfway, jumps up to 43, looks to have a very balanced skill set, good breaking pitches, four-seam curveball, changeup, slider, all relievers here besides Angels, who do take a starter. And Costello and Pepper definitely not going to be at your next pick at 88, but Lewis Spencer being at that is 104, there's a chance. I don't know if I could live with myself if we missed on him. So Diamondbacks do go reliever. So we are back on the clock here. What would you do in this spot? Would you just go with the safer bet here, the safer upside that is? And Lewis Spencer, 18 years old, going to be very raw. Probably going to open there in the mid-50s, but going to have a very high ceiling. Whereas Pepper or Costello here are going to be more instant contributors. I think we just take the chance. I think we go with an infielder here, take Costello. Look at that hitting profile. He's just going to be a stud hitter. Not the highest ceiling, but a very high floor. So we'll take the chance. Mike Costello, 39th on the MLB board. He did drop a little bit after scouting, but we'll hold off. We'll hold hope that we can get one of these pitchers here. So at this point, we'll simulate to our next pick, really hoping that Lewis Spencer is still on the board. And he is. So our risk does pay off there. We'll see where our other option went. Milt McCauley was one of our relief options. He goes to the Astros. And Neil Pepper here, 59th to the Braves. So they get Tawn Cheney, that center fielder, in the first. Now Neil Peppers to the Braves, having a pretty good draft to our standard. Now here in round 3, we get Lewis Spencer with this pick. Going to have very high stamina, going to eat innings, going to have good control, velocity, strikeouts per 9, going to be his strength, and a 5-pitch mix. So we do get a good starting pitching prospect in this draft, which I'm really happy about, especially after starting with 2 potential stud outfielders. He did opt out of his doctor exam, but I'll take the chance on the upside at this stage in the draft. So now we're hoping Rob Torres is available at pick 118, or maybe even Malcolm Nunez. And we do sim ahead now, 118. We're just going to go with Rob Torres, I believe. Jumped up, like I said, over 100 spots after scouting. Going to have a very good bat, vision, discipline. Going to be a strength. And going to hit lefties very well, though not going to do much in the field. But welcome to the Rockies, Rob Torres, as we add another first baseman to our organization. Now just 2 more picks left. This is where it gets really slim pickings. So most of these guys at this stage aren't even ranked on the MLB board, but after scouting, we kind of found them to be pretty good players. So I think Cabrera and Marrero here, by far the best players left on the board. Kind of in a different league here. Not that they're like, studs or anything, but compared to the guys below them, I think they're just a good bit ahead. Marrero higher on our board, but not ranked on the MLB board. So do we go with another starting pitcher? Do we add another outfielder here? Marrero, Cabrera, a lefty, another lefty bat. So if he was a righty, maybe we would add him. So I think we'll just go with Marrero. He is higher, 54, and 99 velocity potentially. So we'll bring that into the organization. We'll add some more pitching depth here. Another left-hander. And maybe hopefully Cabrera or one of those other center fielders are available at our last pick. And Cabrera is still available, so we can still get him here. Clifford Roach, a first baseman. Looks to have decent contact, but very low floor to start. Going to be probably in the 40s. So I thought I'd just take a chance here on Armando Cabrera. Another lefty center fielder here with good speed. Going to have a decent glove, but not going to offer much at the plate. So that's going to be the Year 3 MLB Draft for you for our Colorado Rockies. We start off with Franklin Delaney. I think he's going to be a potential all-star. Going to probably start off in the mid-60 overall, maybe high 60s, with a potential upwards of the low 90s, probably more mid-80s or so. And then we get Wang Yang-Hu, another high ceiling type guy there in the outfield, another left-handed bat with good speed, good contact. Then we added Mike Costello, kind of wristed here. Going to have a very good bat. I think someone who could really contribute off the bench as a pinch hitter, maybe not an everyday player, unless he could bring a little bit more there in the field. But we like that we added an infielder in this draft, not just all outfielders. And then we were able to get our guy. Where is he at? The starting pitcher. Here he is, Lewis Spencer, 4th on our board according to our scouts. So everyone that we came into this draft, like actually on our draft board that we were targeting, he was the highest rated player potential-wise. So we'll see what his potential comes in. Probably going to be an A potential, but just going to have to work him up a little bit as he's only 18. Going to probably take some time. I think most of the guys we drafted this year were 18. Rob Torres here, 19 years old, first baseman. Going to have a very good bat, but our focus obviously seems like we're getting some good hitters, but I think we have to shift that for next year and kind of focus on getting some better fielders into the organization. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Glad we had an enjoyable Futures game there where Alex Parra, the MVP of this year's Futures game, and then we had a very good draft there. I think, you couldn't really ask for more drafting in the spots we were. Franklin Delaney at 14th overall. Going to be a very good prospect for us. As we see here, the home run leaders entering the All-Star break. Austin Riley leading the NL. Pete Alonso just behind him. And then Corey Seager with 39 home runs going into the All-Star break. Already more than he had last year in about half the at-bats. But next episode, we'll get into the All-Star break. We'll get into the home run derby, as it's going to be Spencer Strider on the mound against Shane McClanahan to start this year's All-Star game. But as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.